This used to be the norm, staying up late, washing the socks, being emotionally spent, then getting ready to do it all over again. Well, if you mix in the marathon this year, it is just a special vibe. Chelsea has been so badly impacted by the pandemic, and the idea here, according to that lawmaker, is to try to get these rapid tests into the hands of people in need at little or no cost to them. We're just outside of Boston Community Pediatrics, and their Facebook page says it all. They're getting ready to administer these shots after the most recent federal approval, this for the Pfizer vaccine. Yeah, the wind gusts have been over 50 miles an hour, Jason Brewer told me a little bit earlier. It's certainly, the wind is not as bad as it was over the last several hours, but as you take a look, we're right near the Fisherman's Memorial here on Western Avenue. You can see the Whitecaps in the water there. This is obviously the Gloucester Harbor. We've seen water just washing right over the seawall there into the street. I'm going to walk you down just a little bit further. We're not getting too close to the worst areas, but some people watching the waves over here. We've seen the water crash right over, as you're seeing it right now, going into the street. It's caused a little bit of flooding here in the streets here and there, but it's draining fairly well. Not a lot of people out except for those who want to take this in, hopefully at a safe distance. For now, we're live in Gloucester. Evan White, Boston 25 News. 5-year-old Julissa loves riding her bike, but it's the family journey that she's been on that is the real story of her life. She's been a foster kid her entire life.
She brings so much love and joy and sass and sweetness and just so much life.
Lynette Lavasco and her husband Peter welcomed Julissa as a newborn. 2 years later, they tried to begin the adoption process. Adopting through the state often means a couple of things: children coming from challenging beginnings and potentially waiting a while for DCF and the courts.
It's worth it because the kids deserve it.
Lisa Finaro is the director of the Massachusetts Adoption Resource Exchange, or MARE, which partners with DCF.
Unfortunately, it's also a large bureaucracy, and as everyone knows, things take a little bit longer with such a large state system.
For families who've been patient and lucky, like the Lavascos, Friday is a day to celebrate National Adoption Day, as the adoptions of 97 children, including their own, are finalized.
The adoption process is complex and at times unpredictable. Your strength and advocacy for your children during this time is incredible, and we're so grateful.
Governor Charlie Baker and First Lady Lauren Baker recognizing families in this pre-recorded video.
This is the start of a beautiful new chapter for your families, and we wish you the very best.
A nice touch, but for Lynette, Peter, and their 3 biological children, the real treat, making things official with Julissa.
She will be officially taking our last name. Yeah, it's going to be great that it's final. She's going to become Julissa Lavasco.
Julissa and her family plan to celebrate by going to Disney World next month. Now, according to MARE, there are 1,700 kids in the foster care system right now in need of permanent homes. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can visit our website, boston25news.com, where we've put contact info for MARE on the site. Evan White, Boston 25.
Hey, Evan, he had to turn away apparently some supporters there, but he did personally apologize to them.
Carrie, today was one of those days we're having one of these. It's a media credential we were given to head in. Didn't really matter for a lot of people. Dozens of people were trying to go into this event, but they weren't able to get in. About 200 people is what this VFW building holds. You see some of the people trickling out after Buttigieg spoke. But before this all started, he went out to address those who weren't able to go inside.
To every voter who came here to speak, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate it and that I hope we are able to continue to connect as we go. We are taking no vote for granted. Obviously, we feel a lot of momentum coming here, but I know how New Hampshire is never told what to do. Folks here think for themselves, and I'll be doing everything that I can to earn every bit of support. So if you're here as a supporter, thank you so much for that, and please continue to spread the word. If you're here to make up your mind, please stay tuned. We'll continue to be doing events all through the state and hope to earn that support as we go into Tuesday. Thanks so much again.
We're showing you a photo here of what it looked like inside of that event. He just, again, ended up wrapping that up a short time ago during the speech, talking about getting better medical care for veterans and supporting those with mental health issues as well, and also student loan repayment. Coming up all new at 5:30, we'll have much more about what voters are saying going into this primary that is inching ever so close. We're live in Merrimack, New Hampshire at the VFW. Evan White, Boston 25 News. Chris, Mayor Walsh says that he's been doing a lot of listening, not only to members of his own cabinet who are people of color, their difficult stories of dealing with racism here in the city, but also seeing the protesters on the street who've been making their voices heard. The mayor speaking longer than we're used to during his news conference earlier. He says that now is the time to stand up to racism, to end it. He says it hurts Boston. Above all else, it hurts the city's health. Mayor Walsh says the coronavirus pandemic highlighted inequality when it came to health care, access to technology, and food. Then the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis fueled a movement led by youth.
And we're determined to accelerate our work towards systemic change, to renew our nation and our city's promise of equal opportunity and justice for every single person. And I will join them in advocating for change.
Walsh's announcement comes the same week Boston police clarified or changed certain policies and banned neck restraints except for during imminent threats. Police Commissioner William Gross leading that effort and saying the department has been reforming since President Obama asked cities to do so years ago. He supports changes to avoid having a George Floyd incident in Boston.
It is the duty and responsibility, excuse me, of each and every one of our citizens to make sure that that cowardly murder will not happen here in Boston.
How are you going to operate with 20% less of your overtime budget?
So, we'll get the job done. Quite frankly, what I've heard in the community is we wear too many hats anyway. A child doesn't want to go to school, you call the Boston police.
Boston's police union offered no comment when asked by Boston 25 News for reaction to the reduction of overtime proposed by the mayor. And Mayor Walsh says that steps to deal with racism, end it really, are going to help police, even if some view it as a painful way to do it by taking some of the overtime budget away from officers. He says these are just the beginning steps. There are other things that he wants to do dealing with housing and also education, but he feels this is a start. Now, a big chunk of the money they're planning to reallocate from the police department overtime budget is going to go to the Public Health Commission. How are they going to use those funds? What are they actually going to do? Their answer is coming up next hour.